So good morning and welcome to What's Changed in LinkedIn in 2018. How does it impact your speaking business and some predictions for 2019? For those of you who don't know me, I'm Phil Gerbishak. Hopefully you do. I didn't invite a lot of strangers to this, so I'm delighted that you're here and glad to share some stuff with you. If you have questions, you can certainly use the Q&A or use the chat. I'll do my best to pay attention to both. I've got about 20 some slides to go through today. I took screenshots of the latest as of this morning. So I was up early, both walking on the Tampa Bay River Walk as well as putting slides together for us. So let's share the screen and let's get started. So what's changed and how does it impact you as a speaker? So first, a little bit about LinkedIn. About 2 people join per second on LinkedIn. Those of you who, this stat is pretty old. I'm guessing it has not slowed down because LinkedIn's growth is still really good. All the Fortune 500 are on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, for those of you who don't know, is owned by Microsoft. They got bought about 2 years ago for $26 billion. So Microsoft, you're seeing more and more integration with the Microsoft suite of projects. Don't be surprised by that. You're going to continue to see that. And LinkedIn, just so you know, they make most of their money from LinkedIn Recruiter and from recruiting services. Now, how do I know this? Well, they're a publicly traded company, so you can see this too, and they report their information all the time. So you can see this pretty much every quarter, okay? A little bit about me. I've been using LinkedIn since May 14th of 2005. You can check that yourself. If you go to your settings page, it'll show where you did, but that's my date, May 14th of 2005. I've been teaching others about LinkedIn since 2008. I am very passionate about the possibilities of LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is the social network place to be as Facebook continues to encounter privacy breaches and they continue to lock down the personal side and really focus on the monetization on ads. I think LinkedIn is going to be amazing. It already is really good. As I say here, I get business frequently from LinkedIn. Not every day, not every month, but every quarter I get business from LinkedIn on this. And I do enjoy long walks on the Tampa Bay River Walk and the Gulf Beaches. And this picture of me actually is from the top of the building where I live. I live in downtown Tampa in the Channel District. So if you're ever in Tampa or you're ever in Orlando even, please let me know if you want to get together. If I'm in town and I can, I would love to see you and grab a cup of coffee, have a glass of wine, or just hang out, okay? So that would be a pleasure for me. So one person in the chat here, hold on, we got one thing here. Just a moment, please. And yep, so hey, Betsy, what's up? So, all right, folks, so let's start with what the heck has changed. And this stuff, this is stuff that you may not be aware of. You may be aware of it, but it's all important stuff and it impacts us as speakers a great deal. So the first thing is native video on LinkedIn. This is the little button. You'll see it's also on your mobile device. This is the button on your desktop. Native video means video that you upload directly to LinkedIn. It is not a YouTube link, a Vimeo link, a Wistia link, a link to your website. This is native video, which means it lives on LinkedIn, which means it doesn't drive people anywhere else. They stay on LinkedIn. It's really important to understand this distinction when I say video. Native video, the stuff that lives on LinkedIn. This is new for LinkedIn. They had the ability to upload or to share a YouTube link, a Vimeo link, a Wistia link before, but this past year they added native video. Native video is a really big deal for speakers because certainly you could add your sizzle reel, and this is just your status. You still can't upload videos to your rich media. This is to your status, but this is a big deal. One, certainly you can share your sizzle reel in your status. That's great if you have some really great content that matters there and you position it well. One of my friends, Scott Stratton, has got over 1 million views on one of his bits from his program. Doubtful if that though has directly gotten him any revenue, but likely has gotten him with a whole ton of people now that have seen his message. So just know that often this is indirect goodness. So yeah, your scissor reel or a bit. I would actually also encourage you to think about this each day or each week or each time you use LinkedIn. How can you add value in a video that you might have done previously in an article? Now, these videos don't have to be long. They can be 30, 90 seconds, 3 minutes, 5 minutes even. You get up to 10. But native video works on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn on their mobile app does have a native video feature there, but it's very limited. So I would actually encourage you to make the video somewhere else and then come to LinkedIn and upload it. If you save it on Dropbox, you do need to save it locally first and then upload it second, because otherwise what you show is a link to Dropbox, which they'll prioritize that. And I'll talk about algorithm changes in just a little bit, but native video is a big change for LinkedIn. Along with that, this is really new. This is in the last month, and this may not be rolled out for you yet, but LinkedIn has been rolling this out for about a month, the ability to upload documents, PDFs, and PowerPoints to your status. I can tell you that when I have done this, and I've tested this a couple of times, 5,000 to 10,000 views on these documents, PDFs, and PowerPoints, and it doesn't seem to matter which format it is. They all seem to get well prioritized. Because it isn't rolled out, I can't tell you exactly how this is going to impact the algorithm. I haven't done enough testing to tell you that, but this is a big deal. So what can you upload to your status? These are the things normally that we might give away to get people onto our list, because the goal on LinkedIn is to get people to interact with us, to leave a comment, to leave a like so we can see them as visible. A lot of times in the past, we've wanted to drive them to a landing page. I just want them to be visible and to interact with them. So documents, PDFs, and PowerPoints are really good things that we can upload now. And this is a different, different thing that we can do. Upload those things that we were giving away before sometimes, or maybe some of the older things that we have given away. We may wish to upload beautiful, our one sheet. We may wish to upload anything that looks really, really snazzy, that is going to add value to people's lives. So PDFs, PowerPoints, good stuff that we can then give them and upload this to our status. Now, the interesting thing about this is our status does go away after approximately 90 days. So that means you could repeat this about once a quarter. And I say approximately because if people are interacting with it, it's possible it could last longer. The real shelf life is probably about 15 days on your status, and really when you're getting the most traction is probably in the first 3 days. Okay, so any of these, and the interesting thing about PowerPoints is you can actually click them, and I think what LinkedIn has done is a combination of the SlideShare.net integration as well as then an integration with Microsoft Office. Okay, so I have a question here, so let me answer that just a second here. Well, a question, 60-page ebook to give away. Would this be an upload despite its size? Great question. I would say this would be a little too big to do. So what I would do instead is I would put the cover and maybe the first 5 or 6 pages, and then in the comment, give people the option to, if they want to download the rest, now's an opportunity to drive them to your website to get a download. Now's an opportunity for them to get more, to go to your site and to see more, even if you don't gate that, meaning even if you don't ask for an email address, that still could be something that you do. So split that up and just give them some of that. That sounds like a really big file, Stan. So if it takes it, it can't be bad. I don't know how many pages that is, but take a look and see what that is. And then Betsy asks, is native live video an option or pre-recorded? Right now, there is no live. I'll talk about that. That's actually one of my 2019 predictions. Right now, it's only pre-recorded video or video you record right then using LinkedIn, but it's not live, meaning people don't, it's not like Facebook Live where people see you right as you're recording it. It is real. It's a recorder and then an upload. So really good question, not live yet. And like I said, I'll talk about that just a bit. So those are the first two big changes for us. One of the other big changes here is something you might be seeing on people's and not even realizing it, and that is follow instead of connect. Follow instead of connect. So this means that instead of adding connections, you can certainly set it to follow. Now, I would tell you, you want connections. You want connection. I would not turn this on, but you'll notice other people's might be. So pay attention when you're going to connect with people. As a speaker, you actually want their contact info, so you want to connect. You want their email address. You want to see all their contact information. And you want people to have yours. Now, you might say, well, oh boy, I'm getting a lot of crazy people that are connecting with me and I don't really want them to have my private info. If that's your concern, then you could turn it on, but then you also don't get their contact info. So be really careful about this. Be aware that it is out there on people's profiles. If you see, oh, it only says follow. On the right side, there'll be 3 dots. You click it and you can select send an invitation. And remember, always customize your invitations. Tell them why. So as a speaker, if let's say we do get a lot of connections and we feel like we have as many connections as we can really get our arms around and work with as a speaker, then we might say, okay, well, I want people to follow. Just know this may prevent you from getting some really good connections, but once someone follows you, you can then see that. You get a notification that they're following. And then you can go back and send them a connection request that says, hey, since you're following me, perhaps you'd like to connect so we can get to know each other even more. Okay? So we got another question here in the chat. Just a sec here. Having a second profile, absolutely not. Sean asks, would you recommend having a second profile? Never have a second profile on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very vigilant about the fact that they will delete both profiles if you set up a second one. Now, how does that happen? Somebody in your network is going to report you. LinkedIn doesn't like actively go out and do that, but somebody will report you. And they do have some sweeps set up because, again, if you have one active profile and one not active profile, well, why are they, this is their profile. This is their platform, not yours. You're not paying for the platform. Now, even if you are, that might be a whole different kettle of fish, right? But they really don't like you to have 2 platforms or 2 profiles, okay? That's really not a good thing, okay? And is your profile visible to all the public? Absolutely. Your profile should be set to the whole public. Absolutely, positively. I don't know where my next gig is going to come from. I don't know about you. And I want to be able to show up in search. If somebody does a Google search for my name, I want them to find me. And I want them to see LinkedIn because LinkedIn has social proof. Okay, so absolutely. I have both a business and a personal profile, Lori says. Is that okay? I don't know exactly how you're asking that, Lori, but if you have like Lori Brown speaker and Lori Brown human, as both of them can accept connections, I would say the answer to that is no. That's not okay, and I would merge those profiles, and there's an option in your settings to do that. If you have Lori Brown business page, which people can just follow, and Lori Brown speaker page, which is just your, your connections, those are 2 different types of profiles, really. It's a profile and then a business page, much like Facebook has a profile where you can get friends, and then a business page where people can like and follow. And then the reason for the company page, the business page, if you will, is because then you can advertise. And that's going to become more important, I think, as we go here. Okay. So one more question here before we go on. Great. Fantastic, Lori. Glad that cleared that up. Okay. So email addresses are not in the data download anymore. This is a pretty big deal. Previously, you could download all of your connections and it would give you all of their email addresses. It doesn't do this anymore. I think this is a really good thing because this prevents unethical people from downloading it and then dumping it into their email newsletter, their marketing automation, and then sending those people messages that they didn't ask for. Just because you and I are LinkedIn connections does not mean that you have permission to market to me. Does mean you can talk to me. Let's talk about the difference here. So talking to me, you send me a personal message. Hey, Phil, hope you're well. Hey, let's have a conversation. That's a personal message. Or even, though I don't like this, if you don't know me, hey, Phil, I have something that I think could be of value to you. Would you like to talk about business? I'm typically person first, business second. The jury's out. Every person is a little bit different. I think we work hard enough that we don't need more business messages first until there's a real need identified. But that's just me. And I know a lot of people are like that. So with this does download a whole bunch of stuff, but this is also in your settings. Go ahead and take a look at this and see what's in your data download and see how useful it is. It is not email addresses, but it does still have names, which means if you go through and you highlight or circle or bold or whatever you want to do on that CSV file that allows you to know who you want to talk to, then you can go out and search them, and their email addresses are still on their profiles. Okay? So, Debbie asks, are you going to talk more about business pages? Do we need one? I'm not going to talk much about them. Yes, you need one. Absolutely, you do. That was a change, but I would say yes, you need one. There's a way to set that up very simply. If you just search for set that up, or I can send you the link. Okay. So around that. Roger says, tech CEOs can totally tell when you have more than one profile, like Google. They might tolerate it, but unless you use two totally separate systems, you can't assume total separation. Yeah, absolutely, right? Your IP address, it is clear who you are, even if you don't think it's clear where you are. And if you don't understand what an IP address is, and you're trying to sneak around with two different profiles, you're the exact type of person that's going to get hammered. And that's going to be not a good thing for you, okay? So, Roger, thank you for that point. Okay. So what else has changed? The algorithm has changed again, and it's going to continue to change. And this is as of right now. I would guess that as they roll out new features are typically given priority because they want people to use them. Just understand that. So if you see a new feature and you're like, I don't see any way how I could use this, think of a way to use this because it will get prioritized. Right now, native video is prioritized. Uploading a video, still prioritized. Documents, PDFs, Word docs, questionable. It isn't rolled out for everybody, but I would tell you that once it is, that'll be prioritized too. So new features always prioritized. Right now it's native video. Secondly, links off of the platform are buried. You got to understand this, folks. I get you want to drive people back to your website as a speaker. I totally get that. It doesn't work. They're going to bury it. You're going to get, instead of 1,000 people or even 300 people are going to see your video or your text app, what you posted as a status or your graphic, you're going to get like 3 or 30. And it's really frustrating. Don't link off. If you want to link, instead, put it in the comment section. Put it in the comment section with the link to see more because that shows intent. If you tease them up front with a promise and then they click the link, it's clear that's what they wanted to do. And LinkedIn or any platform isn't going to bury that yet. But it's not as great as it could be. So you have to be really clever in what you say, and everything else is in the middle. Everything else is in the middle. That means graphics, text, anything else is in the middle. So links all the way at the bottom, video and new features up at the top, everything else being in the middle. And engagement pods, an engagement pod is if the 20 of us, 30 of us, 50 of us get together and say, you know what, we're going to get together and we're all going to click like and comment and share on each other's status, that's going to get banned. That is banned. Now, how does LinkedIn know? Well, I'm a sales trainer. I talk about sales. Yes, I talk some about leadership, some about tech, and some about marketing. If I'm in an engagement pod with someone who talks about knitting, and I like, comment, and share, the moment they send that post out to try to trick the algorithm, to try to make it look like that's some great viral post, well, that's not in line with my messaging. Therefore, LinkedIn is going to know that. If you say, well, then get 25 or 50 salespeople together. Well, again, if 25 or 50 people pounce on a status update the moment it's updated, chances are it's an engagement pod. Okay, chances are it's going to get you're going to get banned. Now, you might not get visibly banned. You might not know that you're banned. You might not even see that you're banned. But I've seen people where if you go to their profile, you don't see any status updates for the last year, even though they've been making them. You don't see any changes for like a year because they've been what's called shadow banned. And I've seen people who've actually even gotten their whole profile wiped out. So just be aware of this. Any of the cheating ways, if you think, well, a computer did that, therefore it's more efficient, you should probably not do it. Along with that, the last point here, most third-party tools are in violation of LinkedIn's terms of service. There's a Meet Leonard, there's a Duck Soup, there's a whole bunch of them out there that are in violation of LinkedIn's terms of service. In fact, if you read LinkedIn's terms of service, it's clear that unless it was made by LinkedIn or Microsoft, which is the same company, or one of their approved vendors, which is very, very small, very few, you are in violation. Violation means you could get your whole account shut down. As a speaker, this means you could lose your LinkedIn profile and therefore all your network that you've taken time to build. Okay, so I've got 2 questions here. What about links to articles that you share? Same way. Those are getting buried. That is, Debbie asked, I would put part of the article and put the link in the comments. And Lisa says, what if you put the link in the comment? Yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about, Lisa. That's exactly what you should do, is put the link in the comment and not in the body, especially so that if it gives a pretty picture and it comes through and you're like, oh, it looks so nice, LinkedIn's probably not going to prioritize that for you. Okay? So we got a couple chat messages here too. I have an Eventbrite. Good question, Nikki. If you have an Eventbrite, same way, tease it. It's just like a link. You tease them in the top, and then you put the link in the comments. Then you put that in there. So, and Lori asked, content as a shelf life, better to have new content that is linked to an older post. Absolutely. Absolutely. New content with old links are perfectly fine. Don't waste your time editing a post. If you screwed up, just delete it and start over, or just leave it. Probably means nobody saw it, or because you had a typo, maybe 17 of your friends are going to come to your aid and try to tell you how stupid you are because you have a typo in your message. Like, I have friends like that. If you have friends like that, yay us, right? So, but sometimes that drives the algorithm wild. So that's okay. Typos are fine. Typos show you're human. But yes, old content, absolutely post that. So let me jump out here to LinkedIn and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So hang on just a sec here. I'm going to pop out here into LinkedIn, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you can see this, and I'm going to go to my personal blog as well, and I'm going to post a recent conversation that I had with Lisa Hanneberg and show you exactly how I do this, okay? So LinkedIn is popping up now. We're going to let that load in the background, okay? All right, so okay, so I'm going to, for some reason that, there we go. So here's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to start a post. And then always tag the person if you mention someone, so that their people get mentioned too. So in this case, anyone can see it. You could post to groups as well, but that's what I'm going to post. Okay, you can do that with an Eventbrite link. You can do that with a link to anywhere in the world. You can do that. So that is text, a couple of hashtags, and then link to conversations, okay? So that's exactly how you would do that. Okay? All right. Another big change for LinkedIn, active messaging status is added. The presence of a solid green circle next to someone's name in LinkedIn messaging means they're currently on LinkedIn and will be notified when you send them a message. The presence of a hollowed out green circle, I call this a green donut, indicates that someone is not actively using LinkedIn, but has push notifications enabled on mobile, so they'll be notified when you send them a message. So let's take a look. What does that look like? So on the left, Haley Castro has a green dot, big green dot, active and available. How can you use this as a speaker? If you know someone is active on LinkedIn, it's a good place to send them a message, right? Because they're right there and it boing, pops up and they see it. On the other side, we see this other gentleman here, connection available on mobile. Boing, here they are. Now here's the thing. They can change that. They can manage their active status. So you can set it for connections only, all LinkedIn members, nobody, whatever you want. Many people have changed this to no one. Again, I would encourage you to leave this on for at least your connections, likely for all LinkedIn members, because you want people to reach out to you. Our goal is to get real people to talk to us so we can get hired to speak more, to do our business more, right? So I would tell you to leave this on. Doesn't hurt. Now, if they're the white donut, the white circle, which means nothing, but you'll see that where that circle might be, it's almost like there's a pimple on the side of their profile picture because it's a white circle. That typically means no one. Means they don't let anybody see their active messaging. So that's how that works, and that's a pretty good indication of who to talk to. Okay, so those are the big changes for 2019. Those absolutely impact you. Think about the content you share, what we do with the connections, how we talk to people, how what we share gets more virality, getting seen beyond our network, how that works. Okay, so let's have a few predictions. So here's my big predictions. LinkedIn Live Video, asked about before. Live video will be available by the end of Q1. LinkedIn had previously said end of Q4. This is not very bold of me to predict, but I'm letting you know because it is coming. They said the end of Q4, but they had some other changes in the pipeline. They might push it out to end of Q2, but LinkedIn doesn't like to miss deadlines. So here we go. So expect this to be coming for you. I expect there's going to be a big push also for more paid Sales Navigator members. I mentioned in the beginning that LinkedIn makes most of their money from Recruiter. Well, Sales Navigator is a great tool, both as an individual speaker like us, as well as for corporate sales professionals. A lot of the corporate organizations that I train, that I speak to, they all use Sales Navigator. There are various levels. You cannot sign up for a higher level unless you have a team because there's no way to share if you have nobody to share with. Okay. Now, how do I know this? Why do I qualify this prediction? So LinkedIn limited commercial search in 2018 for free members. If you've ever gotten a message that says you're out of searches or you've searched too much or you've reached your commercial limit or anything like that, that's what this means. And I expect this to continue. Their commercial search is likely going to, they're likely going to constrict that even more in 2019 as they try to move more people to paid subscriptions, not premium. Let me say that again, not premium. Premium does have some of the Sales Navigator features, but if you're going to pay for something that's actually useful. Pay for Sales Navigator, okay? Don't pay for premium. All right, so let's see. We had another question here. I let's see, active messaging part in the settings. I'll share that after, Monica. You'll see that in your messaging piece, okay? So more paid Sales Navigator members and a big push for that. You get if you've never used it before, you do get a free trial for 30 days. The one thing with that I would warn you about is on that push for this, they're trying to get you to also sign up for a year, and there's no refunds. It's 20% cheaper if you pay for the whole year. If you know what you're doing, Sales Navigator is an amazing tool. And if you don't, it's $65 a month at the cheapest, $79.99 at the most expensive per month to do nothing. It does not help people find you more. It helps you find them more and send more messages, okay? All right. So I also expect it's going to be harder to reach people. As more and more people learn about the power and more spammers invade LinkedIn, you've probably seen this where you get hammered because you're a business owner and people trying to sell you business owner services. I expect that people start ignoring people more on LinkedIn. It's an unfortunate truth, but I predict that's going to happen. Doesn't surprise me. Okay, so thank you, Roger. There is a roadmap for LinkedIn. Thank you. I'll share that out there for folks. There is a roadmap, and yes, that is much of their stuff, and I'll share that in a follow-up email. So thank you for that, Roger. I appreciate that very much. I'll make sure that that gets shared as well. Let me take a screenshot of that. So we have that. Thank you, sir. And we'll save that. So roadmap. All right. So those are my predictions for 2019. So what's the solution? How do we look at that roadmap? How do we look at what's going to happen? How do we look at what has happened? How do we get better? How do we use that? So first, some possible solutions that you need. First, you need a better profile. You have to have a better profile so you look like a resource, not like a resume. Most people have a profile that's all them focused. I won this and I did this and this is me and I'm awesome, which often means that it looks like you're looking for a job on LinkedIn. Now, Recruiter is their #1 platform, and I can tell you some speakers, they are going to get jobs. That's okay, right? If that's what you want. But if you want to look like a resource, as someone to hire, as a contractor, as a consultant, as a speaker, you need to look like a resource and not like a resume. You need better search tactics to get around those commercial limits so that you have the right amount of people, so that you have the right amount of messaging. And around that, right, you need better messaging. You need to sound better. You need to spend more time on that, okay? That's important. So, and asking people, Monica says, I get connection requests from people selling their services. Why do they connect? Is it just to sell me their services? I would tell you that is the case with everybody. Everybody wants to sell you something eventually. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. That's okay, right? I think if you think that they look like a human being, it's quite all right to connect to them. You get access also to their network that you can connect with, and you don't have to. You don't have to pay any attention to them. Everybody is trying to do business. Most people are, unless they're using it as a dating app, and I would say, do you want them to use LinkedIn as a dating app? I don't. That would be pretty gross. Unfortunately, I do see people do that, men and women, both who use it as a dating app. So just be aware of that. But I think that's creepier. So don't do that. So the solutions that you need for 2019, right? Better profile so you look like a resource, better search tactics, and better messaging around that. As you look at that, right, if you're looking for some help, I've got a course that launches that's available. First class is next week. You can go to linkedsalesblueprint.com. I can help you with that. I've helped speakers for a long time with that. And that is something you can sign up for. Take a look at with that. There's 5 sessions designed just for speakers. This is not a sales course for salespeople. This is a course LinkedIn Sales Blueprint is for speakers around there. So our sessions are around branding boldly, so your profile stands out, prospecting inside your network to create better messaging outside. They're different, how you do that, content that resonates, and creating a daily practice. Someone just asked, how long does a live video get to be? Up to 10 minutes. How do you make a video that resonates, though? Is it just 10 minutes of your speech? Is it just a 10-minute video? You got to think about that. And around with that, you need a daily practice. So I've got a course that does this for you. It's at linkedsalesblueprint.com. These are the 5 sessions that you can do. If you need more help, I'm happy to help you. Happy to work with you. I've been doing this for a long time. And if there's anything that I can do on that, go to Link Sales Blueprint, sign up. It's very personal. It's not like I let a million people into this. It's focused on speakers, focused on folks, much like today was, where I talk about how this actually impacts speakers, okay? Not just theory about how it might. The link to that is linkedsalesblueprint.com. You can go there. It is in the chat for you, so you can get that. If you have questions, comments, feedback, please let me know. I'm happy to help. I appreciate that you took some time out of your first week of the year to spend time with me, with all of us here. I hope these changes are helpful for you, that gave you some idea, and I hope that if you need more help, that you reach out. Please make sure if you're not in our Speaker Tech Tips group, that you join that as well. We've got a great group of really smart people there. I'll post a link there as well so that you can join that. If you have more questions, certainly let me know. But check out Link Sales Blueprint. I'll be sending out the link with the recording probably tomorrow for you. So you'll get that, and then you get a couple messages just to remind you about the Linked Sales Blueprint. I'll also, and you'll get all my resources with that as well. If you have questions about that, reach out to me personally, send me a private message, connect with me on LinkedIn if that's helpful for you. I'd be happy to do that. Happy to answer questions. Glad to be here for all of you. If there's any last questions, please let me know. But we'll wrap up probably in about 3 minutes here. And it's really my pleasure, my honor to do this for you folks. Thanks, Lori. Glad you're here. So much goodness here. So many good people. So thank you all. I'm really glad that you're here. Yep. Ray asked about a little more about engagement pods. I'll elaborate on that. And if you have a question that I didn't answer, send me a private message. Just phil@philgerbishak.com. Pretty simple. So engagement pods would be if you got 20 people together and you all decided you're going to like and comment and share on each other's stuff at the same time. This was really popular on Instagram, still is popular on Instagram. It is not okay. Meaning, Ray, to answer that question, if you always send me a message and the same 20 people a message that says, hey, I just posted on LinkedIn, go like, comment, and share, that's against the rules. So don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. That would be a bad thing. That's against the rules. And then your tips, Stan, acceptable to video upload? Absolutely. If you have the original video, absolutely, Stan. That's a perfect thing to upload to LinkedIn, okay? And let's see. Let me see if I can show where that is on LinkedIn with our messaging on there. So hold on just a sec here. I'll see, Monica, if I can find that setting for you. Just give me a sec. Oh, there we go. So in your settings, Monica, it's under the active status listed here. And I will send you a link right to that, assuming that you're still on. Okay. There you go. Okay. But if you have more questions, more things, folks, please feel free to send me an email. My email is phil@philgerbishak.com. Feel free to ask. I put some links in there. I'll get these out later today. If you're getting multiple emails, I apologize. I'm in the process of moving all my messaging out. So apologies for that. Promise not trying to spam you. I'm one guy trying to do this to serve. So that's it for today, folks. Have a great day. See you in 2019.